Could this be a push? Could this be a final push for a sign of things to come? Lynn Roberts, head coach, LA Sparks, planting seeds in the ground for Caitlin Clark to blossom and eventually put on a LA Sparks uniform. The talks were once hot. They might be heating up again soon.
It is officially a disaster. The Indiana Fever organization is in a state of absolute panic tonight, and the entire WNBA has just been thrown into the biggest crisis in the history of women's basketball. The rumors are no longer just whispers behind closed doors. They have exploded onto the front pages. Caitlin Clark is reportedly preparing to leave the Indiana Fever. The breaking reports indicate that Lynn Roberts and the Los Angeles Sparks have just stepped in with a massive, mind-boggling, multi-million-dollar proposition to rescue the generational superstar from what sources are calling a toxic, broken system in Indiana. The details leaking out of this unfolding situation are completely jaw-dropping, and it has sent the WNBA commissioner into an absolute fury. Nobody saw this coming, but when you look at the sheer destruction of the relationship between Caitlin Clark and her own coaching staff, it makes perfect sense. The system has failed her. The management has lied to her. And now the ultimate consequence is happening. The Indiana Fever are on the verge of losing the single greatest asset the franchise has ever seen. If you think this is just a standard trade rumor, you are completely blind to the real war happening behind the scenes. Tonight, we are exposing the secret multi-million-dollar push from LA, the exact reason why the front office in Indiana is collapsing, and how this one shocking move is about to change the league forever.
Each other off the floor. I just don't think that on the floor it's a good mix. I think they just see the game through two different lenses, and we have been yearning and calling for Stephanie White to actually stand up for, represent, and be front and center for Caitlin Clark. And she's refused to do it at every turn outside of a 30-second clip post the Alyssa Thomas situation, in which she backtracked on everything she said and made Alyssa Thomas the victim when her superstar point guard was the victim. It just makes no sense how Stephanie White has gone about this. And you see the things that LA Sparks doing. You got Cameron Brink, who's friends with Caitlin Clark. You got Kate Money Martin, who's best friends with Caitlin Clark. Sophie Cunningham will be a free agent at the end of this season. Hey, Sophie Lexi can making her way downtown. Look.
To truly understand why Caitlin Clark is ready to pack her bags and head to Los Angeles, you have to look at the continuous, unforgivable betrayal she has faced from her own coaching staff. For months, fans have watched in absolute horror as the coaching staff stood by and did nothing. We saw the malicious hits. We saw the blatant, dangerous fouls. We saw opposing players target Clark on the hardwood with intent to hurt, while her own coach sat silently on the bench, refusing to defend her, refusing to call out the league, and refusing to protect the franchise player. But it didn't stop there. The tipping point arrived when the coaching staff began using fake injury reports to manipulate her playing time, benching a completely healthy superstar under the guise of medical management. It was a calculated move to assert control, but it backfired catastrophically. Clark's camp has reportedly had enough of the lies. The level of disrespect inside the Indiana facility has reached a point of no return.
The league just has to do better, and we have to invest in those areas. The technology can get better. We can treat the referees a little bit better, pay them like they're full-time employees. I think things like that, and I think a lot has obviously come after that. And as I've stood up here and said before, like the harassment, the hate, none of that is okay. That goes for the opposing team we play. That goes for my teammates. That goes for my coaches. There should never be a question of character. Like I've always stood up here and said that, and that's truly what I believe. That's how I was raised. So, none of that is okay, and I don't want anybody to ever experience that. I think it can be really frustrating to me at times, and I think it's difficult. I think a lot of people sometimes think I'm a robot. I'm not a robot. I have emotions, I have feelings, and it can be really difficult to go through a lot of that. And I'm 24 years old trying to navigate a lot, and I think at times I've been in this world for 4 years now, and you would never change any of it, but there are times that it is hard, and there are times that it probably affects me a little bit more than I do put on, and I would never change any of that for the world, but I think it's important that people do remember that part of it too. So
You cannot treat a generational talent like a liability and expect her to remain loyal to the jersey. The coaching staff thought they could break her spirit and force her into submission, but instead they completely destroyed the franchise's future. And that is exactly where Lynn Roberts and the Los Angeles Sparks capitalize on the chaos. The Sparks organization smells blood in the water. They see a completely mismanaged superstar being actively sabotaged by her own team, and they are moving in with an aggressive, unprecedented push. Sources close to the situation indicate that LA is preparing a massive historic financial package music and trade offer that would completely reset the market. Lynn Roberts turned heads across the basketball world when she dropped subtle, shocking hints about Clark, signaling to the entire league that Los Angeles is ready to provide the elite coaching, protection, and market size that Indiana completely failed to deliver. The business logic is flawless, but the drama is intense. Insiders are now claiming that other high-profile players, including Sophie Cunningham, are being brought into the conversation, looking at the unfolding disaster in Indiana and realizing that a massive shift in power is about to take place. The Sparks aren't just trying to acquire a player. They are trying to hijack the entire future of the WNBA. And they are using Indiana's own coaching incompetence as their ultimate weapon.
Great. And you think about like the passion that these players have and their want to. How do you marry that with the execution that you just talked about in this film session to actually win games?
Yeah, and that's the issue right now is the ability to push through and get out of our own way on some level. But there's an element of toughness and effort that isn't consistent. And last night we just looked disconnected. Maybe that's because we sat out 8 days, didn't play. But I don't like using excuses. We got to be better. We're pros. We all have a job to do. We got to show up and do it better. And like I've said many times, the good news is today it's all about Indiana. We got to turn the page, learn from what we learned from what we saw last night. But that's not going to win any games. The level of connectedness, the max, second and third efforts. If we don't have those, it's not going to be good. But we have the talent needed, even with KP out, even with Cam out, to be more competitive than that.
Yeah. During this stretch, talk to me about just the decision today to just like practice and just say, we're just going to watch film. If you want to shoot a little bit, you can shoot a little bit, but not even really do too much on court and just say like, this is what we got to do. Here it is. Let's go do it.
And that's the reality at this point in the season too. Like we don't need to go through our plays right now today and wear them down physically. It's mentally having the focus and the intensity needed to execute. It's that simple. Now, it's hard to do, but I'm not saying it's simple to do, but it's a simple fix. Like that's what it is. Being in the right coverages, whatever it is, offensively being where we need to be. Like, do your job, all of us.
The sheer scale of this backroom maneuvering has left the WNBA commissioner completely blindsided and absolutely furious. A scandal of this magnitude where a marquee player is forcing her way out of a team due to coaching negligence and internal deception is a nightmare scenario for league headquarters. The commissioner is reportedly demanding immediate answers from the Indiana front office, questioning how a coaching staff could single-handedly alienate the most marketable athlete in the music sport. The pressure on the Fever management is now fully unsustainable. They are caught between a furious league office, an enraged fan base demanding immediate terminations, and a superstar player who has already checked out mentally. The locker room is fractured, the brand identity is ruined, and the coach's career in Indiana is effectively dead. They thought they could control Caitlin Clark with bizarre restrictions and media spin, but they ended up destroying their own careers.
I believe the vote is a mix between like the fan vote and then players and media, but it still just didn't work out in their favor. I mean, what else does a person have to do if they're averaging 24 points, 6 assists, a 5'8" guard shooting above 50% from the field? Like, what else can you do?
Other than be super active on social media, nothing. Like that seems to be what the parameters are. So, but KP's about winning. She's about being great, being excellent. She'll take it in stride.
What are you going to, if you haven't been able to talk to her about it yet, when you do, what are you going to say to her about it? Because I mean, she's having a season that is worthy of being an all-star starter. Well, MVP, but an all-star starter just for the base level.
I haven't talked to her yet about it. I'll see how that conversation goes.
Okay.
Listen, man, Kelsey Plum got did dirty, just as Caitlin Clark got did dirty. We all know they rigged the fan voting for Paige Beckers. Paige Beckers jumped 400,000 votes in like 3 days. We all know it was rigged. It was scammy. They just didn't want Caitlin Clark to be the captain. But the Los Angeles Sparks, I think Caitlin Clark in LA would be a beautiful thing. And it's going to be very, 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 very interesting to see how this thing plays out in Indy. I think how the season finishes up is going to play a major part. And I think regardless of how things go, this is the very last season you'll see Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark as teammates. This is it. And I think the LA Sparks are planting seeds in the ground and prepping for a move to bring Caitlin Clark to Los Angeles.
The clock is officially ticking, and the fallout from this disaster is going to be monumental. If the Indiana Fever cannot salvage this relationship within the next few days, the multi-million-dollar LA Sparks deal will become an unstoppable reality. The era of Caitlin Clark in Indiana is collapsing under the weight of ego, lies, and horrible leadership. Will the front office make the desperate final move to fire the entire coaching staff to beg Clark to stay?
We willing to build up something nice for you over here. We willing to make it happen. What did the LA Sparks do? They have signed Kate Martin to a full-on standard contract. No more developmental stuff, no more of that. Kate Money Martin is fully on the squad. Squad. She's fully there. Is this a seed being planted in the ground for Caitlin Clark to eventually join the LA Sparks? The heats are heating up. The talks are heating up. The talks are heating up, and I think this is a great move for the LA Sparks. Okay, this is also that was courtesy of from the LA Sparks. They posted that. Just Women's Sports posted after.
Or is it already too late to stop the Los Angeles juggernaut from taking over the league? The drama has reached its absolute peak, and the sports world will never be the same. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because this trade war is exploding by the second, and you won't want to miss the next major leak.